What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Darkstalkers, Night Warriors. Actually, Darkstalkers Revenge. Darkstalkers was an amazing series back in the day. Morrigan being one of my favorite characters, and I've started a Morrigan series here on the channel, playing through a bit of the Darkstalker, I guess you could call it, saga. Vampire Lord, Vampire Savior. Is the Darkstalkers series. They even had Darkstalkers anime. Now, take what I'm saying with a breadcrumb here, because I could be wrong on some of these titles. They were known over here in America as a few things. I started with Darkstalkers 3 here in the U.S. on PlayStation because Capcom made it. I'm always been a big Street Fighter fan, but this game took Street Fighter and put a fantasy twist on it, dark, gritty fantasy. It does have graphic content, which I love. Sexual themes, violence, really just crazy, but very cool. Well, like I said, I've been a fan for a while. Forgive the audio. I'm currently recording this on the controller mic, so hopefully this turns out okay. There might be a little bit of some problems, but I apologize. I'm going to adjust as I can. But this game was so amazing, and Morrigan's such an amazing character to me. I was drawn to her for many reasons. Obviously, she's a very sexy character, but I love her attacks. Especially this one, like right there, that's really cool. By the way, I'm just commentating on this, as I've recently played. It's hard to commentate on this because I'm really rough, and I didn't want to put so many gaps. But I could also update you on what's upcoming with the channel, talking about the Marvel vs. Capcom games coming up, which is the reason I'm playing through this. I never really got around to playing it on the channel a whole lot. I think over the years I've played it off and on, but it's mostly been Street Fighter. There's been a couple other Capcom games, obviously. There's been Injustice 2 fighting games. But when it comes to that, it's primarily been the bigger titles, including Street Fighter. Darkstalkers is one of those that was really popular in Japan, pretty popular here in America, from my understanding, but definitely an arcade hit. But again, it only appealed to a certain audience. And then, of course, this actually, from what I've noticed, the game series kind of introduced a few elements that were either introduced or reiterated from other game titles, specifically Street Fighter, I think. But including the layered health bar system, where you have multiple health bars. It wasn't introduced in this game. I believe it's in the next one, because you have lives that are that symbols. It's amazing. But later on, and I believe it's Marvel vs. Capcom or X-Men vs. Street Fighter, where it's introduced in that series, you've got a health bar 1, health bar 2, so on and so forth. In this remake, in the collection, you can modify it accordingly in the game settings, and these are arcade ports. They're not like console imports, they're arcade imports, and it's really, really cool. But you definitely notice some of the elements that are prevalent in a lot of the games today. But when it comes to these animated games, man, the love that they put into these sprites and the backgrounds, hours of hand work, just handwritten work, or hand-drawn, manipulated animations, especially at Morrigan. You can see evolution for her character over the years. She's very basic, starting out. Cool animations, cool artwork, for sure, but she evolved over the years as games do, as series do. And CN Co is an interesting character. Definitely one of the... From my understanding, she inhabits this bit of an outfit that allows her to fight evil. She uses the traditional Japanese, like, binding tags. At least she does in the anime. I think it's the same here, but she's kind of a cool character. By the Abyss, you offer no challenge to me. Classic Capcom there in Fighters. Those loadout screens, and then now Felicia's probably another character. I would say probably one of the more popular characters aside from Morrigan. you don't really see a whole lot of characters that make an appearance from the Darkstalkers series in other games, except for Morrigan, Felicia. I think Jeddah made an appearance. Jeddah's in either in this game or it's the later one. I think it's this game. It might be this game. I just played through this a couple hours ago, so that's why I'm recording this. But I can't think of any others that made an appearance. I would think one of the funner ones, like BB Hood, in the next game, she's basically Little Red Riding Hood with a machine gun in her basket. It's really funny. Lord Raptor is an undead rocker zombie. One thing I will note is that especially like Lord Raptor and the mummy character, Anubis, I think. Not Anubis. It's not Anubis. I can't remember his name. Anyway, you can see some of their key animations were kind of duplicated. And you can even see it in a later character here, one of the models, Huevis, something like that. Anyway, from what I've noticed, each time you fight him, he's got like a different element to him. There's also an ice animation, like action, like when you are frozen, and you get hit, you're frozen, and then the ice shatters around you. It's kind of the same animation you see in Marvel vs. Capcom when it comes to Iceman. It's Iceman. I can't remember his name. I'm not exactly well advised on Marvel stuff, except for the stuff I'm interested in. The general universe, I'm just not a guru by any means. A lot less than that. Definitely lesser than a fanboy, that's for sure. A lot of these fights are going to be timeouts. I put a high handicap on these videos just because 2 reasons: my arthritis, and it's been a long time since I played these games. The fight mechanics are a lot like Street Fighter, but each character has their own flow in the way they fight. Morgan's kind of stiff in some regards, but she's also really quick. And her ultimates are really cool too. One of my favorites is her duplication process, where she takes on, hits you. There's one move, she'll hit you with an ultimate, she duplicates herself, and then she kicks your ass. And then the other is she can duplicate herself, and like for 3 or 4 seconds, you can independently control her, and her clone just copies her movements. So it's not like a set movement. You can actually use your various moves to duplicate it. Talbane's a really cool character, obviously a werewolf. Kind of cliche in some regards, but the wolves in the background, each animal aspect in this game tends to have the same feral aspect in the background, such as Felicia with the cats, Talbane with the wolves, Bounce animation with Morgan. I would argue Morgan is probably one of the earlier sexualized characters that you see in arcades when it first came out. Again, to my knowledge, I'm pretty focused on games that I really get into. And I used to be the type of guy that everything Capcom touched was made of gold, the Midas touch, but a buddy of mine who passed some years ago, he kind of set me straight. He was like, dude, they're going to make bad games and they're going to make good games. And I was like, yeah, I'm getting that. I'm learning that with age. That was just like Squaresoft back in the day. Although arguably a lot of the Squaresoft games back in the day were amazing. So it's Final Fantasy. I'm a Final Fantasy fanboy. But yeah, so there's that. Capcom as well. Hold on a minute. Okay, I had to readjust. Unfortunately, my back is giving me problems today. I was going to make note, Morrigan's taunt, it took me a bit to learn that here on the collection, because some of the more standard default mapping keys, I switch sides here, mapping keys are a little odd. They're different than the other console ports I played back in the day, and I've always liked Morrigan's taunt. It's kind of funny. You'll also notice here in the second and third game, her ending animations get varied. She can wear like this really like casual club getup, like with a white shirt, black pants. she'll have this traditional Japanese, like, I forget what it's called. She's got the fan and this tunic set up that's split at the thigh. I can't remember the name of that. But it's really cool. Her, later, you find that she becomes more than what she is, and of course this bounces in every game. Morrigan adapts by taking in a different character named Lilith. Now, I had limited understanding of the story of Darkstalkers back in the day, mostly because I never really got to stick around at the arcade to watch the endings, or I would make it halfway through a campaign, and then I had to leave, or I ran out of quarters. But when it came to the PlayStation ports, I started with Darkstalkers 3, but I totally forgot about the ending and Lilith. Lilith is not a favorite character. She's definitely a cool character. They basically took Morrigan's sprites and fighting style and adapted it in a more of a different way that's contrary to Morrigan's mechanics and animations. Lilith's more about, I would argue, love and innocence in a way, where Morrigan's obviously just more like lust, because she's a straight up succubus, you know. And she just kicked her own ass, technically. Well, default. You may have looks, but the brains and the skill are all mine. Also, you'll see her ending sayings that are now more varied. Donovan's a cool character. I was always confused about a little girl in the background, but when you watch the anime, the girl is, if I remember right, she's like a little witch. And she carries a doll around because it's like a safe thing for her. I forget. But anyway, Donovan, I think, is either sent to or runs into her and figures out what she is. He's either sent to kill her or runs across her as a character during the story and decides to protect her. And Donovan's always, he's one of those characters that's like keeping balance within himself, good and evil. But again, really cool character. I also love how he manipulates his sword. It reminds me a lot of Kenshi. I think it's Kenshi in Mortal Kombat. I'm so bad with names. I'm so bad with names. I know characters and what series they're from. It's cool. But yeah. Okay, here's another really cool little feature of Darkstalkers that you really don't see a whole lot in the fights unless you're fighting certain characters. For example, what just happened? Morrigan got burned. Her animation turned to where like she's almost naked, but she's covered up in the vital parts, but she's taking on like a burned form. So here's the duplication. You can't see it because it's off screen, but you can see it there a little bit. It's the same if you're fighting Dimitri. He has this move that's actually really funny, where he throws a flower petal and he says, "Come here, baby," and it'll turn any character into a female. And it's like a static sprite. Like, they don't really move a whole lot, but he could turn Talbane into a female, Raptor into a female. It's really funny. It's only like 2 or 3 seconds, but then he sucks some of the life force out of him to regain some health. I always thought that was really cool. And in my preteen years, I was like, yo, that's kind of hot. And you know what? Now that I think about it, that really might have been one of the defining moments that really kind of triggered my interest in certain kinds of anime. Yeah, anyway. You know what? Despite the bad rep it gets, I think, in some groups, especially here in America, that certain type of anime, if you know what I'm talking about, actually has a really cool storylines. If you watch it for the story. Really fucked up in a lot of ways, obviously, but also really sweet. I mean, like, you have your gamut of genres, or what's it called, fetishes in that regard, but there are some really cool ones. I won't name any series, but yeah, obviously an anime itself too. I gotta look. I don't know. I gotta look. Let's do this live right now. Well, not live, but I'll do it on video. I'm gonna look on Amazon. I don't know if they ever released this series on Blu-ray, but I am curious. Darkstalkers. They had them on VHS. I actually had them on VHS for a while. But yeah, I totally forgot about the manga. I never had to read the manga. Blu-ray. Rise of the Night Warriors. Ooh, they got a hardcover book. You got a Darkstalkers tribute. Darkstalkers. Complete OVA collection. Oh, there it is. Oh, cool. So they've got an OVA collection of Darkstalkers. $26. Get some more information here. All 4 OVA episodes in 1080p region of disc. Wait, 4 episodes? 2 hours and 40 minutes. That's not the series. That can't be right. I don't think that's what I'm looking for. They do have a Darkstalkers complete hardware cover, though. I might get this Rise of the Night Warriors. I can't tell if this is the manga or collection, 256 pages. Comic series. Oversized collection also includes every Darkstalkers bonus story and variant cover. Ooh, that's going on the wish list. Here he is, Hewitt-Sill. He may not actually have different types. I could be wrong on that, but in the previous game, he was copper. But here he's got an ice element, so I don't know. That theory hadn't been tested in this title. But he is an interesting character, very fluid animation. You can tell they put a lot of work into him. Just like they did with the other characters, including that. She's just trying to keep you abreast of her defeat. The auto block system in the second title is a decent handicap, but it's obviously limited because you got that auto countdown 10. Each time it auto blocks, I think it counts that down. I think. Let's see. Test that theory. I totally forgot. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. So, but in the later series, there's not a limited amount. I think here they were really trying to add more challenge to it, but obviously as generations went on, either for a handicap perspective, offering for players, or they just got lazy and was like, nah, let them block everything for as long as they want. And once I'm there. Now, I'm not seeing... Man, that sucks. Darkstalkers. Let me try it. Darkstalkers anime. It's on DVD. I'm surprised it's not on Blu-ray. But then again, one of the less popular series, sadly. Plenty of figures, obviously. I recently did some AI work with Morrigan. We put her in some really cool situations, but then everything aired out, and you got a movie put. So I'd say they have a really cool movie poster. Oh, then we're taking on Pyron. Pyron was he was the main villain in, I forget, the first Marvel vs. Capcom. He evolved too. He's got this one move where he becomes taller, like he becomes this pillar of energy. This was a default win here. I wasn't proud of this one, but it is what it is. If I remember right, I don't think I fully defeat him, which really sucks. I do like his shield though; it's really cool. Okay, so that shield animation, that force field jutting forward, that right there, you kind of see the same thing in Captain America later in the X-Men versus Street Fighter, or not, Marvel versus Capcom animation, where it's like charging star. I think it's charging star. So that may or may not be it. I don't know, but just a guess. Now these endings, man. This is where it really shows her succubus side. And again, the graphic content, because she's sucking the life out of him. I wasn't a big fan of this art of her. It creeps me out, but then again, maybe that's the point. She literally drains his essence. Now, you would expect, or maybe she just straight up kills him. Usually with a succubus, she's sucking the life force out of them, but you would expect she would become more powerful, but you don't really see that here. Maybe she does. These are obviously servants. She is, I'm guessing, either a concubine, a partner, a maid, or whatever. She was created by this unknown master at this point. If I remember right, though, I think the master is Jeddah. Or maybe it's Dimitri. I don't think it's Dimitri. Maybe it is Dimitri. I'll have to learn more on that, but these are some creative, cute little characters. It's kind of a sexy shot coming up, too. She's like laying there on a thing of flowers. She just calls it having a little fun. Lucian, nothing to worry about. I don't think Lucian's probably in the later games, but anyway. And of course here we enter Psy. I don't get to do this in the third recording, but there it is. Anyway, thanks for watching. Stay safe, stay sane. Remember, you're awesome. Never let the world tell you otherwise. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
PlayStation